Mic test. Mic test. Let's see if we're hearing ourselves clearly enough. Mic test. Mic test. 1, 2, 3. Great. I can hear myself, which means we're back live. So let's go ahead and try to wrap up this review of the changes. So we left off on, if I'm correct, was it Rhea? Oh, we left Waka. And we left. Now we're on Sophia. So let's go ahead and look at that, shall we? So going back to Phantom Breaker 1.3. So her first changes is air throw. The move's recovery is now SP cancel. So let's go ahead and take a look at her air throw real quick. Did I even show it on the screen? Oh, we're now trying to blitz through this, so we're just going to have to take my word for it. So this, oh boy, that's her air throw. As you can see, I try to press SP. Nothing happening. Can I do this again? There we go. Actually, I do want to see if I can still overdrive that. Yeah, they did not allow her to do any cancel? What? Ooh, that. I wonder why I didn't notice that beforehand. And here I said I understood this game. Shows what I know. Anyways, so now we can go ahead and take a look at Spicy Edition and see what they did for our girl Sophia here. Here we are, Sophia. Alrighty. I hope everyone is doing well. Yep. So now she can get a bit more off of her air throw. I wonder if she could get a counter hit. Yeah, no, they attacking me. But that also means she probably can. Can she not do her super? They don't want to do her air tornado ground super? Sadly not, but she can do this. If she can get anything off of it now. Oh wait, I forgot. Tornado. That's a pull short for, alright? Well, I didn't want to do all that, but. And because it is a throw, the opponent is in an untechable state, so she can get stuff off of it. So yeah, handy change indeed. Now, let's go to the next thing. Zamathia, the light version. And the change is, all hitbox are now standing and air unblockable. So, we're going to go ahead and take a look at that on 1.3. I probably don't need to keep announcing that. It's probably getting redundant. Well, it's probably redundant a while ago, but either way. So, they did say it's now standing unblockable, which means it should be a low. Is that a low? Wait, is that? The hitbox is now standing on. No, it's overhead. That's what it means. It's standing block. So that means if I put her oh wait, not even guard. There we go. Crouch. Guard all. So, as you can see, oh wait, I'm an idiot. I should have them standing up. That's exactly what I want. So they can stand block this. Now then, and now the change is this. Too low. She is guarding. Stand guarding. But now that is a low. But they're not done. So the medium version is now standing in air unblockable. Oh, wait, so what is the other one? Low? So it's the same thing for her medium version, but though I thought it was also shows what I know. I guess I got myself mixed up. I thought this was a low as well. Let's cross over. Okay, yeah. So all of these are low. So now these are low attack. While in the old version, they were not low attack, giving Sophia even a little bit more mix-up, which is pretty good. Even though I have Sophia as like top 2, like I think she's just behind Kiryu as the next best character, I can say that these moves definitely saw minimal usage. At best, these were the moves that did give her somewhat of a hard knockdown, because she does struggle to get hard knockdown outside of throws. So they at least did give her some of a hard knockdown, but they also had a sweet spot. So if she didn't hit the sweet spot, then she didn't get the hard knockdown. And besides that, besides the ES version being pretty good, they didn't really see too much usage. So now that these are low, which also means it's hard to guard cancel against these moves, because attacks that are low and very airtight, it's hard to guard cancel against them. So this makes her pressure even better, even though technically this is punishable. But yeah. Actually, no, I think they don't work well against slip shift and protection, but other guard cancels, I think they're pretty effective. So good on Sophia. So the next thing, Zamathia, greatly increased damage. This is just her super doing more damage. I'm actually going to go ahead and now for this point just skip the supposedly greatly increased damage unless I feel significant personally. And I'm going to say I don't think these are really significant in my opinion. For the most part. So yeah, so that's actually going to go ahead and wrap up Sophia. Let's go ahead and head now to the next character, who is Cocoa. A character who a lot of people said they felt she was top tier in Breaker Omnia. I certainly didn't agree with that, and even some other players also even agree with that sentiment, that they didn't think she was top tier. At best, she did have something. She did have an infinite. That's very much true. She did have an infinite, but the infinite was also sort of impractical in application. So just because you have infinite doesn't make you a strong character. I mean, let's look at. Let's go ahead and say whatchamacallit, Sailor Moon S. Sailor Moon S. Uranus has an infinite and a brain dead infinite at that, but she's still considered one of the low tier characters because how everything else about her works. If she can land an infinite, then fine, she's a strong character. But how practical is it to land that infinite? And the fact that Cocoa infinite required her to be in a corner and get certain hits done, yeah, it was really not that practical. But let's go ahead and dawdle and get back to the patch notes. So for Cocoa, the first thing we're going to read is her air throw. Increased recovery. The recovery frames are now jump cancelable. So this is something a bit of a sideways change. Essentially, now that she has more air recovery, the infinite is basically no longer possible. Essentially, unless she double jumps, so she lost the ability to use it as an infinite, but she can still get a loop. Like she can still do her grab combo loop per se. I am not skillful enough to replicate this infinite loop per se, but to at least give an idea of what it was looking like in the old game. So yeah, she could do something like that. As you can see, I was able to air grab again, and I didn't do anything else but... So, even though I suck at it, yeah, she could do basically an indefinite loop on that with some timing and whatnot. Now, when we go into Spicy Edition, which I didn't change the character over because, well, you already been here. You know what this is about. I really should just change it to where we're already there, but anyways.
Naive.
As you see, yeah, I can't do any other actions unless I cancel it into a jump. Nothing. I think she can still SP cancel that, but that definitely doesn't lead to her. What's it?
Coward.
Okay. Has something changed?
Naive.
Yeah, it's canceling now.
Coward.
I should still be able to do it after 56%. Why is it not working?
Naive. Coward.
Huh. She can't do it after 50%? This is something different. Something I did not cover in the patch notes. Something I might have to investigate later on. But, yeah, as you can see now, I can't really do the loop unless I double jump, which means only only Quickshot can do it. And even then, you're going to get that 2 loop, and that's about it. Alright, I did want to see if I can, what's it called? SP cancel. Yeah, you can still SP cancel if you want to just get a bit more something out of that. So, yeah, like a sideways change. Took away the infinite, but she could still at least do some loop. So, yeah. Now let's go on to the next change. Cruiser Mazer. The move is now SP cancel after the 3rd hit. Now, I thought this was actually something that was already present in the old game, but that's an old game. So, this is Cruiser Mazer, if I'm reading this correctly. I keep getting cruises. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, there we go. So yeah, they say. All right, after she gets to that upper part, she can SP cancel. So 1, 2, 3, she can SP cancel this. So that just still looks like it doesn't. Oh no, I can't. Never mind. So only the first 2 hits, she could only cancel that. So now let's look at the old version. So not old. Let's look at whatchamacallit? Spicy Edition now. So yeah. Now, I think the reason why they gave her this is because for starters, she's actually plus on this. This one, that's an overhead, but on that they blocked that. She is plus. Yeah, she is still plus. So opponents are going to want to try to basically guard Kelsey in between it to get out of being plus and caught in her pressure or her blender. So now that she can SP cancel it, she can, One, she can hold it to bait out to either go for unblockable, or that means she can also SP cancel it. Imagine the super cancel it. And of course, even overdrive and assess her options from there. So, a good change. It basically allows Cocoa to keep her momentum and counterplay respectively, I would say. So, good change of her. Now, this is the big game changer that now makes me think Cocoa is in the conversation of being top within the high tier, possibly top 5. Barbaresca and Nagel extended the hitbox downwards. This is actually Cocoa's biggest and damaging move, and this is what makes her like near the damage queen in the game, I would say. With the only character matching her in damage will probably be who else? There's another character who does kind of have substantial damage. Yeah, Ende and Gaito. Like, I think Gaito still has more damage than her, but then it's between Cocoa and Ren who does the most damage. And reason why, because this thing just, 1k off of just that hit. And she can keep going if she wants to, and even link it further. So now the fact that this is supposed to be able to OTG now, for example, looks like our throw. Coco usually couldn't get anything unless she did SP or super. Or you use overdrive, you have overdrive. Like, that's how she combo off her throw. And this was one of Coco's really. She does have good mix-ups, but her throw, she didn't really get too much off her throw outside of just that and Okizeme. She could start doing Okizeme and whatnot. But now when we look at whatchamacallit, this version, now she can do this, that, and start going to town. Oh. I could be wrong, but it looks like the infinite position might have kicked in. But this still allows her to. Oh, so she can't still. I was just sucking at it. So yeah, Cocoa now gets more reward off of her throw, and then not only that, she can do this too. Now that's probably not true, because when you see the little mashing button, that means they can tech away. But Phantom Breaker is a game that requires you to match a lot to do air techs, ground techs, and whatnot. So if your opponent is sleeping, she got 2.5k off of a regular hit, a hit that's easy to convert into. How about this? Damn. Yeah, she can do that. And now she's already at 3.5k for most of her hits. So her damage, I mean, a lot of characters can do damage now, but Cocoa can get this equivalent damage without spending meter. And then when she wants to spend meter, I'm sorry. Actually, no, here's the right way. Look what she can get off of her throw. This. That. For one bar, she's already at 36k, and that's definitely not optimal. And thankfully, she can do that almost in all style. And that's off of a throw. And throws are difficult to tech in Phantom Breaker. So, yeah. Cocoa, whenever she did do her mix-ups, if she got an overhead, she got good damage. If she did a low, she got good damage. If she did a throw, her damage really wasn't there unless she was only in quick style and did that. But now she can do this, and this is something that all styles can do. Now you can even go to hard style and probably even delete people's life further. Or Omnia style, where you got multiple EX usage, you could probably just meter dump in some weird, crazy loop, I imagine. So yeah, pretty good for Cocoa. This is the EX version, saying the EX version can do the same thing. We already seen that, so we don't need to stay on this. Now, this is also a nice. I first didn't think too much of this, but it's actually a lot better than I give credit for. So for starters, one of Coco's pressure tools, which is called properly, actually I should have read the patch notes, I'm sorry. So the patch note says, all hits are now jump cancelable. So, the move that they're referring to is this. And when Coco does this move, it's a full commitment. Now, it's a pretty good move, decent move. It's usually her way of keeping people honest on the block or just pushing opponent to the corner. But one of the issues the move definitely had was if her opponent was airborne in some form or shape, she didn't really get much, or not get much. A lot of the hits will miss, and she'll be vulnerable sometimes. Well, that intro. See, she can't do anything besides EX cancel, or you on your last hit. Now you might be asking, well, why would you do this when the opponent is airborne? Because again, this is a game where people can jump cancel, and she does have to vary up your pressure options when your opponent is on defense, because there's so many different jump cancel options. Some of our options will beat this, because I don't think that's air unblockable, but this beats clash with certain clash moves. Like moves that have a lot of clash, because a hit grab, it will still go through the clash. She'll want to use this because that's air unblockable. But for people who maybe want to just stand still or do other stuff, doing this does keep her pressure going. But now, the fact that she could jump cancel on hit means if she gets an air hit, she's not as vulnerable. Or basically, she now has a way to convert off the hit, actually. That was the dash. I did with the dash. There we go. So now...
I'll tear you to shreds! I'll tear you to shreds! Naive! I'll tear you to shreds! 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 I'll tear you naive!
Now she can actually jump cancel that.
I'll tear you to shreds!
Alright, that's probably not the one. This is bad. As you can see. And Coco doing. But then not only that, this means she also gets this in the she also gets new combo routes now. I've seen. Because now she can do this into that. Well.
I'm gonna pop my ult!
I definitely saw myself on the combo from there, but maybe I was wrong.
I'm gonna pop my ult!
But she actually gets mix-ups from that, so that's nice. And I know on certain tall characters, she can also link this as well. So, alright, so I know I can combo this, but my ability to combo is unfortunately weak. But she also does get a reset, which resets are not actually terrible in this, considering, you know, less damage scale and whatnot. Can she do the last hit? So it looks like it's not the last hit. Oh no, it is the last hit. Which, actually, I think this also gives her a decent OP too as well. Yeah, because I saw that one of her best OP tool is...
Great!
Oh, that does a lot. Does this do regular? Yeah, that does a regular hit knockdown. So she can do this. And that is a low. I'm sorry, that is an overhead. And she is plus. So she does get even more mix-up. So, yeah, a really good change for her as well, I would say. And this one, so yeah, this one also pretty decent. Something I say is probably more on the normalization, because as we have been seeing, a lot of characters do have moves that wall bounce, give guaranteed wall bounce. For Coco, she definitely didn't have that. Not even the old version, and not even by old version I mean Phantom Breaker Extra. But even in this game, where now it seems like a lot of characters can get wall bounce, she wasn't getting a wall bounce, which also makes this either punishable or just not in her favor at all, as we can see. Now, in our spicy hot tamale version, I'll stop. Now, we do get to ground wall bounce, which means more combos, more rewards, more damage too, and whatnot. But, and if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure she can do this. Oh,
Excellent.
yeah, okay, they definitely were making sure to try to cut that. Or did they actually? Okay, well, no, we won't go to labbing. But yeah, that's Cocoa. Much improvement. I didn't really see her as being top tier because of the fact that she had problem with zoners. And in fact, she was pretty good at weakening people's guard gauge down. And in fact, I still would prefer, if we the next patch around, that some of her move wears down people's guard gauge personally. Some, at least to in a bit, because I do think that is something she should have as well. So, but yeah, that's Cocoa, looking pretty nice. Now we're going to the main girl, Mikoto. This is where our next list on. So let's go ahead and read this out. I'm loading it on the old version now, 1.3, but let's at least read some of the changes that is present. So one of the changes as present is her jumping up M, increased damage. Nice and cool. We're not going to bother really looking into that, but this is what's actually pretty interesting and nice. So, Gestrin, medium version. Extend the hitbox extend the hitbox of the third hit forward, and the third hit now causes a face knockdown. So, here's how this move looked at 1.3. This is the move in question. I can tell you now, this move also has a nasty habit of also whipping on certain occasions. I think if the opponent did reflection, which did cause pushback, then this move had a nasty habit of even whipping after a good bit and whatnot. But now, when we do look at... Oh. So much for me changing this side. Now Mikoto gets a hard knockdown. Now the reason why this is actually pretty significant is because the knockdown you get in the old version, they can still tech and roll away. Thus, she now has to chase them down. Now with this working like that, she already gets a soft knockdown. Just like already gets a hard knockdown. Because the only other way to get a hard knockdown is her sweep, and her sweep can be finicky. Like for sorry, because I mean quick style. Sweeps don't work unless it's in a combo and whatnot. And even if it's in a combo, say they are actually... Let's say they actually are crouching. Hardstyle don't have this issue, but Omnia and Quick have the issue. I did my sweep, but now they just restand. So whenever something does like a knockdown, it changes the character state. If they're crouching, it forces them up. If they're standing, then it forces them to the either hard or soft knockdown state. But now because of this move, Mikoto can... Oh no, I thought she already got a hard knockdown. I was wrong. No, well, sorry. So this even happens in the old game, but now she got to move that forces stand. She could do that to still get her hard knockdown even if opponent's a distance, because there's no way she can re-loop her sweep unless you use something like overdrive or use something like this. So now she can get, but that use meter and whatnot. Now that she has this, Now Mikoto can get a hard knockdown a bit more consistently. So definitely above, and something she can't take advantage of due to either just alright, fine. Let's do this instead. Ooh, recovery that quickly. Because that was a OTG, I can follow up with that. So now Mikoto is able to get a bit more damage off her combos and better Oki. So definitely a good change in general. Now here's another thing. There's an air version of this move, and the air version extended the hitbox of the first. Extended the hitbox of the first hit both upwards and downwards, and the second hit now forced a wall bounce. So this is how this move looked in 1.3. Go ahead and get me to the corner so we don't have to keep. So this is that move right here. That's it. This is. It was a decent move as an OTG. Like, it was decent for this. Hold on. Like, it was decent in that regards to do something like that and whatnot. Oh boy. But outside of that, it has some very niche application. It is projectile invulnerable. I'm guessing that now that it has a downward hitbox, it may even work better as a maybe a move to bait out anti-airs with and whatnot. But then on that, they also said it wall bounce and whatnot. So that's also neat. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. Actually, because now it wall bounce, that means it will get extra damage. Wall bounce, because anytime a wall bounce or a ground slam happens, that is additional damage. So here how that move looks now. And you see, now we went to 2000 because it had that what you call it? Wall slam. Granted, she is also crouching, so the damage is technically a bit higher because crouching opponent, but regardless, how further down is this move? Oh, that is actually pretty far down. That is pretty impressive. So yeah, I think she could definitely use that to bait. What you call it? Bait people who want to try to anti-air her and whatnot. So good change too in general, I would say. So the next thing, greatly increase the damage on her Phantom Breaker. We're not going to bother looking at that. Actually, no, this is not Phantom Breaker. This is her DP super. They basically increase her Dragon Punch super damage. That's fine. Won't really need to bother looking into that. Her quick Phantom Breaker, the level 2 super, increase the damage, increase the speed of the attack animation after the cutscene. I remember looking into this and it didn't seem that much significant, but I guess just to finish things proper, let's go ahead and look into that real quick. So this is the super in question. Alright, so one we can take a look at down 4.2, and then the speed, let's do that one more time. I'll probably recommend maybe slowing it down on your end to see how it looks slow down. So yeah, that's how it is on that side. Now here it is on this side. So I definitely can say I noticed maybe somewhat slightly faster speed. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit faster, and the damage not really that much bigger, 200-300, but you know, I guess that's good for dealing with people who maybe have a lot of guts and whatnot. So it's not terrible. I mean, this is actually one of her better. Sorry, this is one of those Phantom Breaker I do consider to be very good and strong because it did have pretty good speed. So to make it even faster, it even makes it stronger. And it's kind of just, did you whiff anything? Cool. I'm going to punish you for that. And then if you jump, well, hey, because that's going to catch you in the air too. It will catch you in the air. It lasts long enough. It lasts long enough, or active long enough, that it usually catches jumpers as well. So overall, pretty good change for Mikoto. Now we're going to Maestro. And this character is pretty infamous, and not infamous for the sake of like she's broken or strong. More or less infamous because she looks like she's exactly like a clone of Mikoto. Like she has sprites that looks different from Mikoto, almost. Let me say, look at it. Their standing posture is basically the same, but look what it says: mid-range standard, mid-range speed. Now, again, going back to when I said why she was pretty infamous, because basically she pretty much acts exactly like Mikoto at first, or rather not at first, until this patch happens. Now they make her own character with some of these changes. For starters, so one up M, probably just standardized because Mikoto has that. Now her Geshin, look at this. The first and second hit are now SP cancelable. That is something not even regular Mikoto even has and whatnot. So, well, I guess just for keep it tradition, we'll go ahead and show it here. As you can see, I'm pressing it. See, only the third hit is SP cancelable. Because Geshin is a 3-hit move, the medium version. So, only the last hit. And it's kind of almost like, who cares the last hit SP cancelable, because it causes a knockdown unless they're, crouching and whatnot. So the fact that she can SP cancel after the first or second hit, that means she has a better chance of converting when she does land a hit from this and whatnot. So let's go ahead and look at the... Well, actually, no. Before we go back, wait. Before we do that, let's look at the other stuff too. Well, actually, I do need to go back. So the first and second hit is now SP cancelable, but then not only that, extended hitbox of the third hit, saw that company. But now here this is. The third hit is now jump cancelable. Let's look and see if we have jump cancelable here. Because, tell me now, that we didn't have. See, I'm holding up, trying to press up. Here's how a jump cancel does look. As you can see, her dash attack can be jump cancel. I mean, that's kind of the rule with most dash attack. Most dash attacks are jump cancelable. Like, that's how it should look, because they do use the same animation for the ender. But this is not Geshin. This is her dash attack, as you can see on the hand. This is Geshin, and no dash. That's a dash. No jump cancel. And we still got a few more stuff to look at. So for starters, under quick and obvious style, the move is not jump cancelable. It's now jump cancel before the third attack hits. And then under hard style, the move is now ground dash, back dash, and high jump cancel before the third hit. So, just to finish off properly before we go on to Spicy Edition, do we have dash? Well, I don't got. Do we have any jump cancel? No, we already talked about jump cancel, didn't we? Yeah, we already talked about. I could switch to hard style, but I'd say take my word for it that hard style doesn't have that. Now, let's look at spicy version of Maestro. As you can see, jump cancel. Yep, so she doesn't have to commit. Oh, and not only that, see? Now, as you confirm a hit, oh, alright, cool. Let me go ahead and SP cancel and convert. Or, don't we need to do anything? We can do that, overdrive. We can do DP, just, in case, let's say, we notice someone trying to use counterburst. Or, let's just say we want to stay safe and we just throw this out there. Just keep ourselves from dealing with anything scary. But then not only that, then again, she could just jump cancel. Granted, the opponent could counterplay and try to do something air unblockable or whatnot. But now she could jump cancel on every single hit, it looks like. Well, on hits, that. But, actually, she can jump cancel even on block. And believe me, that is actually a big deal because not many moves have jump cancel on block. And the fact that you can jump cancel on block in a game that has a lot of guard cancel, especially when a lot of people want to high jump because how high jump gives you visibility and whatnot. This means Maestro can really start chasing down her opponent. Sorry, she can really start chasing down her opponent and, you know, play from there. Or even just reset. Like, alright, they're blocking. Oh, darn. Because Mikoto does have, Maestro and Mikoto do have decent cross-up buttons. Granted, Maestro has a very short hitbox when he's on the ground. But we do have this. No die, but oh, we can do that too. And that's actually. Oh wait, what? Oh, she can even jump cancel that? Yeah, so when they say she was gonna be a speed character, they weren't lying. So she can even bait out. So now people want to try to, you know, punish her. Oh, no, not really. Granted, that is something only Omnia and only Omnia and Quick get to have. But then again, what did they say about Hardstyle? I still remember, but I'll just show you. Oh, suck. Like, these changes are so nice, I'm almost considering picking up Maestro. And initially, I was more interested in Maestro than Artifactor, but when I found out that she was just a clone Mikoto, and I kind of like Mikoto more because she looks more. Sorry, I like the Mikoto a little bit more, even though I like Maestro with glasses. Girls with glasses are very cute. But see, we got Beanbag Dash. We got missiles, because like I said, grabs are pretty. Now, the bad thing is we don't get jump cancel, but we do get high jump cancel if I remember. Okay, on the last hit, she got high jump cancel. So right now, hit was on block. Okay, so I think it's on block. Yeah, not on block. So not on whip, unfortunately. Like, only on hit or block, I'm guessing. But that is pretty neat. I would say so. Fight. Hard. Yeah, I keep doing it wrong. So can ground dash, backstep, and high jump cancel before third hit. So, oh, so it's only just before? Oh boy, so. A little tricky, but actually, I don't know if she could do it off whip or not. I thought she could do it off whip, but looks like I was wrong in that. It does need contact. Is he? He's becoming more difficult. Alright, we won't stay on that too long, but regardless, very, very nice feature. Very nice feature indeed. Now, air gesture, the test animation is now jump cancel. Nice. This move now ground dash, backstep, and high jump cancel from immediately before the start to its recovery. Alright, so maybe that's why I got messed up by because I was using the air version. I think the air version is a lot easier. Yeah, see, that is pretty neat. And believe me, for a game like this, having dash cancel, when one dash actually has clash frames. Should I showcase that? Yeah, why not? As you can see, yeah. So dash had that. So the fact that she can dash cancel midstream in a game where there's a lot of guard cancel options that are strong because of their startup and attack immediately, so she can start dash canceling to either try to save or counterplay or just miss up. That is going to make her so much stronger, and it makes her own character now. Because Mikoto cannot do this stuff. She is kind of just the Shoto character, footsie. And while Maestro is essentially the same, she now has some actual different spice by having the dash cancel option. Probably the thing that hurts her that Mikoto did gain is the fact that now Mikoto actually still gets a hard knockdown. Which she like she gets a soft knockdown, so she doesn't get as much good Oki. Because as you see, now they can take away. Because that's a soft knockdown, they can roll away. That means she has to chase them again. While Mikoto, because her was a hard knockdown, one can even combo afterwards on hit if she want to ease out more damage. But then her Oki is just also better because the opponent can't take away because of hard knockdown and whatnot. So Mikoto does have somewhat of a better Oki because, when I say better, a more consistent Oki, at least when it comes to her main combo tool. Maestro might have to do a lot more. Oh, she can combo off of that. Woo! That is. So, yeah, that's Maestro, ladies and folks, because I think everything else is just about, you know, everything. Greatly increased damage, all that grandiose, yeah. So she did have issue with her emergency mode, basically didn't really have a hitbox, so that acted weird. And apparently her walking back animation also made her had a lack of hurtbox. So yada yada yada. Shiro Mikoto, essentially this is just another also clone of Mikoto, but one that has a distinct style that she's stuck in. Hold on. Huh. Alright, I actually might want to see that now. So let's go ahead and switch ourselves to Shiro Mikoto. So first thing to say about Shiro Mikoto that is more of interest. Short Gestrin, the shift hit now forces a wall bounce. So let's take a look at that. This is Shiro Mikoto. With her, you don't get to choose any style. She's just stuck in hard style. However, because of the balance change that supposedly addressed the balance changes, damage should seem, if anything, better or more. Sorry, I don't want to say better. Let's say damage may be more consistent now. And let's see. So, if I'm correct, let me see here. So this is Schwarf-Gestrin. This is her DP super. So that's what it does. Just hits the opponent. No wild bounce or anything like that. Now, when we look at Spicery Uno. Also does a smackdown, but we'll go ahead and, again, take the opponent to the wall, and she's going to get a wall bounce. Or I guess ground smack. Maybe if it was a anti-air or something. But that is definitely still neat. Actually, the knockdown state seems pretty significant. Probably not significant enough to where she can actually yeah, as you can see, she doesn't get to have a hard knockdown like Mikoto does either. But either way, yeah, going back to this. So she can do this, which is a good full reversal, and she can even do this if they're really sleeping on the teching of the game. Or maybe if it was counter hit. When your opponent is counter hit, they have to mash out to tech. And hello to the next visitor that came. Hope you're enjoying the show. So yeah, So her DP Super, which is reversal, now has combo potential, which is good. Then her supers are more or less better. Extend the hitbox of the first hit. Greatly increase the damage of the second hit. I wonder how really great.
What are you looking at? Heads up, dimwit!
I'm skeptical of that whole greater damage thing.
Come and get me.
Yeah, it's kind of. Oh, it is his Chorban, so greatly increase the damage of the second hit. And actually, it looks like she don't get a knockback either, like other characters does. Because both Mikoto and Maestro, I think those did get wall bounce, and she doesn't. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up Shiro Mikoto. Let's go on to the next character now, which is Remy. So overall, it looks like Remy stuff is mostly just damage increase. So we probably won't really look at that stuff, but I will at least look at her Delusional Wings. At least look at that. And while I'm doing that, let me go ahead and switch the other side as well, so we're not wasting time. So it looks like at the first change for, so look at the unchanged. Remy would now face the opponent after the move. So this is her Air Delusional Wing. This is the closest thing that Phantom Breaker has to, if anything, an air dash, you could say. But since it's not really an air dash, it's a command dash. But one she can use in the air. This is her Delusional Wing move. And as you can see, she's still facing the other way. The way to get around this was to do a high jump, if I'm correct. Because high jump, oh no, never mind. But she can do this over and over again, so that was kind of like her way to like auto-correct and whatnot. And this is actually how Remy is kind of like a stall character. Like, she's both a right stall character, but she's also not a bad runaway character as well. And one of the reasons why is because of this. And this is invincible. Like, once you turn invisible, she is invincible throughout that. But then she also has this, which is a strike. So if you know your opponent try to attack you, you can do that, and that can disorient them and whatnot. So now, when we go ahead and look at spicy version. Now she auto-corrects, which means her mix-up is actually a little better, because she does have, because when she does use the move, she does stall in the air for a bit, and she has good normal. So she can do something like this. Yeah, I suck. Because she definitely couldn't do that, because she would have still kept going that way, but technically she still is. But now she autocorrects. Yeah. And that's another thing they also changed. This is not the medium version. The move is now jump cancelable on hit. They say this is for all style, but I don't know if hard style really has that. But yeah, the strike version, she can now jump cancel on hit, which is pretty neat, but only she's already in the air. And it's definitely not on block, which is why back on Maestro I was saying, yeah, having a dash or jump cancel on block move is pretty significant, because there are very few attacks that gets that option. I really wonder, does her hard style really get a double jump? I doubt it. Let's check it out. Just so before we leave Remy and go on to the next character. Also going to do an audio check to see if we're still coming in loud and clear. It sounds like we are, so great. Let's keep going. Of course it is hard style. Because hard style doesn't get secondary jump. I don't know why I even thought it would. It would have been neat, but Oh well, that's fine. That's fine. So yeah, that's Remy. Now to my personal pride and joy, Artifactor. This is my character who I really like to play, and for the most part, it was, well, I'm not gonna say unanimously, but I'm gonna say this. Me, one other particular top person who does play Phantom Breaker, who's like, you know, I think in the top 10 ranking, and a few other people would, let's say people who play Phantom Breaker very experienced would say Artifactor is probably the worst character in the game. And as someone who now mains and plays her, I was basically of that sentiment. However, at the same time, while she was the weakest character, well, I guess the thing, what makes her a weak character? Alright, for starters, her mix-up is pretty much non-existent because she doesn't really have any high or low. It's like she doesn't really have that much good high or low mix-ups to work with. She's also not pretty good at keeping her pressure because most of her attacks makes her unsafe on block most of the time and whatnot. Another thing that made her pretty weak was a lot of her attacks have a lot of dead zones right up close to her. So, in fact, this is why I was surprised some people said she was a pressure character, because I'm like, how can she be a pressure character when she can't maintain her, well, offense, in my opinion. But let me get back to what I'm saying. Actually, I probably am getting over here. But yeah, look at this. I am digressing from the patch notes, so bear with me. If you don't like this part, I'll maybe put a fine sign there. But as you can see, all this Maestro has a problem of people being able to dunk her move unless she does either the medium change, which that's not something Hardstyle gets because Hardstyle doesn't get changed. So she has to use her loads, and her loads has a lot of recovery on them. So her most reliable button is her, oh dear. So her most reliable attack is her heart attack, and even then it gonna do so much more. I mean, it is decent. It is decent. And actually, even this isn't terrible when it's on block because this keeps her plus, and the opponent can't really guard cancel to the last hit, and from there she can start counter playing respectively. Like this is her only standing overhead, and it is pretty decent because it has good range, it's safe, but she has no way to convert off of it, especially if they're crouching without using meters such as this or that or this, something to that equivalent. But let's go and get to the patch notes now, because even though I do say she's bad, I think she does have some pretty good things. Like this is a pretty obnoxious move. Like this move is really obnoxious and pretty darn good. This is also pretty good and obnoxious. So Artifactor is essentially somewhat of a keep away character, a defensive keep away character. And not only that, her Dragon Punch, this now as you can see, it's kind of very slow, but it actually does pretty substantial damage. And then on that, because of that, because it's also like a projectile Dragon Punch, she can overdrive it. So even if they block her hit, I can overdrive it to keep it safe, or overdrive to convert off of it. That's not something that many characters get to have and whatnot. But enough of me spilling about Artifactor. Let's look at one of the changes they did for her. Starter, her 2H, both first and second hits are now standing and air unblockable. So basically what this is saying is her 2H, which is her sweep, this is her sweep, it wasn't a true low, if I'm correct. It wasn't a true, I thought it was a low, but no, it wasn't a true low. What I mean by thought, because I keep getting myself messed up here or there. Sorry, regardless, so let's look at this real quick. Standing, guard all. See, she's standing up, and she can block that. So the fact that her crouching H wasn't a true low, that means she only had this and that. And that also has a dead spot of sometimes missing. I think I'm like right up close or something. Sometimes it'll still miss or whatnot. So this basically also means Artifactor had a really hard time anti-airing people, because as mentioned before, you use your low attacks to hit people air unblockable. But now that her sweep 2H is Forgive me. A true low. Now it's also an air unblockable option. That really didn't show it. Are we actually? There we go. Crouch, regular guard. So you see that blocking, and a lower hit them. So now this is a true low, and because it is also a true low, I can see they can air block and whatnot. But now I can do this because that's a true unblockable. Because one of the things that Artifactor did have trouble is people will, you know, they will guard cancel out of our pressure, especially high jump a lot because of the gaps and the fact that the gaps and the fact that Artifactor whiff is very vulnerable indeed. So now that she actually has this, she can keep people in check who try to air jump. And this is essentially essentially a new anti-air that's more reliable, because her only other air unblockable move was this, and boy, good luck learning that. Yeah, good luck learning that. Her only other one is this, but only on the first hit. So I have to do it like I have to do that right there, which once again, the opponent's already on me and probably will be doing some type of attack unless they're trying to do an empty jump. So now that I actually have this also basically lets me check the damage and even lead to some combo because it's still a normal. So yeah, a really good change indeed. Now this, forward M. Both hits are now jump countable on hit, and both the first hit now cause a face knockdown on hit. Comparison, let's look at 1.3. This is the move in question. It still was a pretty good move, since it was one of Artifactor's only way to combo opponent who was still crouching. Because they were crouching, then doing this will whiff. So I have to do this or that, and good lord, it was hard to confirm from that. So now I can do this and that. But now they say the move is jump cancel. And what can I jump cancel here? Nope. In fact, your Sys M or forward M is usually your overhead, but as I said, Artifactor really has no overhead besides this, which is Sys H. And it didn't have jump cancel, nor did it cost a hard knockdown. So, you know, it was a good filler in strings and a decent anti-air. Like, it is a decent anti-air. Actually, I think this is Artifactor's next fastest attack. Like, this is her fastest, then this, and then this becomes her next fastest attack, if I'm correct. So now in Spicy. Take off auto guard. Did I change it? There we go. So yeah, as you see, hard knockdown. And not only that, now Artifactor gets combos even mid-screen and whatnot. You can do so. I'm going to allow this out, but as you can see, the hard knockdown. And this also stands to them being in the air. And like I said, this is not even even though it's not air unblockable, it is a good move to check people in the air. And if they get hit, I can basically start not working. I can now mount some type of offense because of the knockdown. I mean, I can either take the combo, or I can go. So because I can do that, now I can also do that, and now the opponent back to be in full screen, and I'm keeping my game plan going, keeping the mid-screen game going. Now that this also jump cancel, now I can just do that.
think so.
I wish.
Don't think so.
Okay, no, I'm now just messing around. But yeah, this is pretty decent because now this makes this a much more of a move. So I can either choose to make this into a combo, or I can go and just take the knockdown. But now I have momentum on me.
You
Good.
will.
So I have now a much more easier and reliable knockdown. So also really good move. Now her pokes give her more rewards. Now the next thing, Beanbag Dash thingy greatly increased the invulnerability. So let's go ahead and so I've been trying to figure out what's the best way to showcase this move. And this lack of invincibility to now having more invincibility. So let's think about that. I think I got an idea. Wait, I picked the wrong one. Sorry about that, everyone. But we're almost close because after Artifactor, the other two are like one change for a character, and there's only like 3 other characters left. I may not even really do those. We might just finish this off with Artifactor and then my impression of the balance change.
Choose your fighter.
In fact, really was surprised that, even though I was hoping for balance change, I also wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get balance changes because Vortex Gallery is right around the corner, so that's going to be the first, like, sort of biggest Phantom Breaker tournament, at least in an offline setting that I can think of. So that would have been particularly, so it would have been, let's just say, people don't like seeing balance changes in their game when a big tournament to happen, because this tournament is going to have a $1,000 pop bonus. Wish I could have been there, but I don't have the means to get to the location of Vortex Gallery at this time in Junction. But I definitely will be tuning into it if it gets streamed, which I hope it does. So I think this is a pretty decent one. So yeah, that is a very long active move and whatnot. So, sorry, this is Beanbag Dash thingy. This is this. I rarely saw any application for this move outside of being a good combo ender because it caused a hard knockdown. Otherwise, I never really used it outside of combos. Oh damn! I even went through that. Let's. Has that always had that? Alright, so as you can see, I did still get hit by that. Let's do that one more time. I'm not sure that's the best showcase for it, but yeah, I wouldn't really say it has much visibility. That was more of a lot of clashing happening. But let's see now how it is in this version. Actually, before we do that, let's do that one more time. But let's see how much damage I take, because she may not still even get through all of it. But if she can at least, withstand, get through a few more moves. Damn. Still took 6 hits, but how much does this move do normally on hit? Let's check that out. Alright, so it does 9 hits. So essentially my character was able to dodge 3 of the hits before she got clipped. So let's see how it is in here now. It said greatly, so I kind of expect some significant amount, but we'll see. So I did took a bit of 3 more hit moves in there. So as opposed to me taking in 6 hits, now I'm only taking 4, which means I do definitely have a bit more invulnerability and whatnot. So yeah, we definitely know that move has more visibility, and that is also her fastest EX move. So I'm definitely now going to consider using that more in general. I remember using it as a guard cancel option and not really doing so hot with it. So now I might definitely start using it more in her whatchamacallit, in her pressure and whatnot. So now let's go on to the final few marks on Artifactor. So this is quick, grab him and beat him, and hardstyle, oh no you didn't. These are basically her phantom breakers, and they both say greatly increased damage. Now while I did admittedly say I did not want to show and go into more any greatly increased damage, I will say this. Artifactor is actually, when they say they greatly increased damage, they were understating it. It is greatly increased. So let's first look at the old version. Also, I'm an Artifactor mains. This is my stream, so I can break the rules when I want to. So, for starters, let's go and have our boy. Thankfully, I still got it. Oh, yeah, not close enough. So as you can see, 3461. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Now this is a Ren and hard style, so technically they have more defense. But as you can see, for a Phantom Breaker, we got basically 34, which we have seen now. Most other Phantom Breakers are at least starting at 4.5k. 34 only being unless it super had very good utility, I would say. Otherwise, yeah, for a counter hit super, you would think maybe do a little bit more damage. So now let's look at what's it like in Spicy Edition. And believe me, I got excited for this. Oh yeah, her startup does have a lot of visibility too. Look at that. 400, it's like 5.3k. Artifactor, in my opinion, is the de facto. This is the defensive character, or rather, the most defensive character. How about this for kick? How about even something more particular? Fine, well, one thing is, when she also does that, her guard gauge go down, so that can even activate under a guard crush scenario. But let's go ahead and just take a look. Look at the damage. We went from what I believe was maybe 33.4k to now 5.2k. Oh, we're definitely going over 2,000 if I'm correct. Alright, how about this? We're definitely near the 1.9 to probably 2,000k. And this is on quick style, which is admittedly even the weaker version of Phantom Breaker, because most other Phantom Breakers hard style are much more damaging. So what was her hard style like? Let's go ahead and review that real quick. What's her hard style like in the old version? Oh wait, damn it, character select. Sorry.
Choose your fighter.
Oh wow, I lost my train of thought. Oh, also, mind you, again, this is Ren in hardstyle, and hardstyle does have the most defense, and even Ren has a lot of defense. Like, look at the stats right now. When you go to hardstyle, look how much. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he has 5 stacks of defense on hardstyle on top of his, regular defense cut. So Ren has survivability. He has a lot of defense. He can survive a lot of battles, and even then, my counter hit super does 5k. So that should kind of give you implications to just how much damage her super does. this is why I said some in certain areas, yeah, I'll actually show the, you know, greatly increased damage, because they really did greatly increase the damage. Okay, that might not have went how I want to. You know, I'm just gonna do it normal, because I think he did clash with some of the hits, so thus we didn't get the full hit of it. So let's try that again. So yeah, barely 3,000. I think that was even weaker even the last time we saw it. Not last time, but rather even weaker than the quick version. Okay, 3.2k. As you can see, again, pretty meager. The only reason I can say I'm okay with it being maybe slightly less damage initially is because she can combo afterwards if she has him in the corner. Though the likelihood of that is also finicky. So either way, we could say 3.2k damage in Factor Breaker 1.3. So now what's it like in Spicy Edition? A while ago, I did say how right now hardstyle seemed like to be the weakest style, and there was very few. I personally felt very few advantages to using hardstyle, but now I could definitely say if there was a character who's probably have hardstyle in mind, it probably is Artifactor. Maybe we can throw in Itsuki in there as well, and oh yeah, Rhea. I think Rhea also can make hardstyle work. I don't know if it'll be her optimal style, but she can make it work. But now, Artifactor, yeah, I'm on a tangent. Forgive me. $6K. Man, I still think they even clash with some things. I'm not sure why I'm not getting the full damage. Yeah, see? We still missing 1 damage. So, because the first hit clash that he did. See, we got all the. There we go. Oh. Maybe because it missed that clash that the dash went. So I guess even if you try to fight back, you're still putting yourself in harm's way. And also, they can actually burst this. But regardless, as you see, Artifactor is doing 5.7k, probably even higher if the opponent is doing anything else, if it gets counter hit and whatnot. So yeah, we went from 2 to 3 to now 5.5. I do think that is definitely significant upgrade in damage, which is why I was wanting to show her version of that. So now rack up Artifactor. So we next have Kirisu, which is air throw, increased recovery duration after the air throw. I believe if Kirisu did do her air throw in the corner, she also got a wall bounce, though I don't think she was able to link it like Kokowa. So yeah, and of course the recovery frames are now jump cancelable. Neat. We kind of seen that with Kokowa, so we already know what we're dealing with there. Same thing with M. M basically got the same thing going on, except I don't think she got a no, she did get a combo off the, not combo off the wall, rather she did get a wall slam. She didn't have the ability to link it, or at least I didn't see the ability to link it. But yeah, they basically, you know, essentially you can almost say these is sort of nerfs in general. Shinraka, this is just Raka Super, the one with the big fireball traveling. Greatly increased damage, that's the same thing, so we don't need to review that. And lastly, there's Finn, who is Machu Bomber 6, which is this an issue where certain inputs cause Machu Bomb 6 to fire more than intended. I have messed with this and haven't seen how this happened, but apparently it did happen. I haven't had a really good way of replicating it, so we're going to go ahead and just leave it at that. And that's actually going to wrap up this the review of this yeah, basically this is gonna wrap up the comparison. So maybe I'll go ahead and get the full review of this patch. For starters, we got great quality of life changes, such as there's further ranking you can do, like that. We also have quick change, as you can see when I was going from version 1.3 to version 2.0. 2.0, I can go to a quick menu in, excuse me, as you can see. Also, we do not have character commands on the screen, which is nice. Should have been there from the start, but it's nice. But now we get this menu, which now allows us to switch between characters quickly without having to go back to the main menu, so that's also really nice as well. And the best feature of all that now will make me play Phantom Breaker a lot more often, we got rematch option both for offline and online play. So this makes grinding for games and matches much more entertaining and bearable. We don't have rollback with the game, unfortunately and sadly, but and then not only that, we don't even have lobbies. We don't have the ability to spectate, have multiple people in one room playing together. We just got 2 people playing against each other in isolation. That's it. Which, while I wasn't a fan of that, I would be okay with that if we at least had rematch. We didn't have rematch on launch, so I really hated that. But now we have rematch, so now again, I'm more willing to play Phantom Breaker Omnia a bit more. And the gameplay tweaks, I do think the gameplay tweaks are what we needed. We may still need a few more. I really want guard gauge to not be as strong as it is, because it takes way too long to get guard crush consistently. I don't think every character needs to have it, because right now the only character who can do it consistently will be Rhea. I still think some characters should still have that ability as well, but we'll see. They say they might be doing some more balance changes afterwards, so we will see and whatnot. Probably the main gameplay general change I like is the crossover animation that occurs when dashing into an opponent no longer occurs. So now ground footsie has its place in Phantom Breaker Omnia. Rather, you at least now have a good reason to stay on the ground instead of always just jumping in the air. Because once your opponent jump, you pretty much needed to jump, because they could jump over you and then cross up, and it would be difficult to autocorrect if you already commit to something. But now you can actually just dash under them and force a cross up on them instead. So, like that. Itsuki, they pretty much normalized Itsuki as far as I'm concerned. She had a lot of moves and sequence that have opponent fall out. So now that they don't fall out, she now has more consistency when she uses her meter options and whatnot. So I think that's great. She also benefit from the game fixing its damage scaling issue, where damage seemed a bit more normalized and whatnot. So that's good. Rhea now, who used to be, in my opinion, near the bottom of the low tier, now I can say she's almost back to being in her original top tier form. Probably not top 1, probably not top 2, maybe top 3 now, because now she can actually reduce people's guard gauge down to pretty significantly. Like, she can now at least consistently expect to get a guard crush maybe twice per match. Shizuka mostly normalized the fact that now she is a combo character. I guess we could say with that she is a combo character. She has now more combo opportunities, and some of her moves that were kind of weak or had very niche uses now have more varied usage, such as Light Chrism being a wall bounce. So now she actually gets good reward off of using quick overdrive, or the fact that now Hayate travels a distance, so it's more reliable in fighting. She's now more reliable in fighting against projectile thanks to EX Hayate and Godspeed Strum and Drain. So I think Shizuka got better. I hesitate to say whether she's going to now be, if anything, I hesitate to say if she's going to be anywhere near the high tier. Maybe possibly now she's high tier, possibly. I would rather probably get Aqua's opinion on that, since he is a Shizuka main. And then Waka definitely got some pretty decent quality of life. She's basically now can play the game like a lot more safer now, due to her, like, now she can be able to do her DP and then cancel into other options to make it safe or to get more reward off her reversal options. So I think that's pretty good. And one of the other great things, the move that now forces wall bounce. She didn't gain the benefit of getting corner advantage. She just took him to the corner. Now that wall bounce, she gets both that damage and a better Oki. So yeah, Waka definitely more stabilized and even safer. Sophia, pretty much, I'll say she got quality of life. I don't think she went from top 2 to top 1. I think she's still top 2. But overall, I mean, if anything, I would have second guessed even buffing Sophia. However, she did have, like, this move, it had very niche usage. Like, it didn't really have much usage, I would say. So now that it's actually a low, it does make it a lot more worthwhile. Sorry, it's more considerable to use now in certain matchups than others, I would say, personally. So yeah, pretty much alright with that. Also, her air throw, yeah, she should have gotten her air throw. The fact that she didn't actually have the ability to combo air throw was kind of weak in my opinion. I would say it was a weak thing. I mean, she did have the ability to combo if she was in the corner, but because she's fighting mid-screen, like, she does actually want to stay away from the corner. She's one of the few characters who don't want a corner. In fact, she's actually one of the few characters who don't actually get wall bounce on many of her options. She doesn't get any wall bounce out options very much. So the fact that now she really has to play mid-screen and they made her mid-screen better, yeah, I think that's a good choice. I don't hate those changes. Kokua, character who I think maybe got the second highest glow up. I think Ria's the biggest glow up from this patch, or I say Ria's a big winner for this patch. Kokua will be the second, and maybe Maestro or Artifactor being the third. I'm kind of in the air about that currently right now. But Kokua, this move right here, this is the MVP of her balance changes. Not this one, Barbara's Miguel. Extended the hitbox downward. So basically this move is now an OTG. And now an OTG, I think it also probably can't hit people who try to poke her down. And the thing about this move that I neglected to say, it does have some invincibility. Very minor, like it doesn't last very long. So it isn't exactly really a reversal because they do have long startup, but it does have some invincibility. So against certain pokes, she definitely could use it to challenge certain pokes and whatnot. So not only that, but this makes her grab now much more stronger. So yeah, this change makes her just overall, now she is the damage queen of the game, with only Gaito outmatching her or maybe even tie with her now, if anything. So now we have Mikoto. Mostly I'll say she's just normalized. She got more damage, and I think it's fine. That's kind of standard around everybody else. Now everybody got damage. She basically, her move is Gestrin. This is basically similar to how Sophia also had that turbulent move, whatever it's called. Like, it had niche uses, but you wouldn't really go out of your way to use it outside of those niche uses, such as it is projectile invulnerable, but because you're in the air, there weren't that many projectile invulnerable. It can catch maybe birds, but again, it had very limited usage. Now that it actually has a bigger, wider hitbox, she could probably use it in air, plus it a bit better. And she used the EX version, she now gets a wall bounce. She gets a wall bounce. So now she can get higher rewards. I think that's pretty good. Maestro, pretty much this is why I say she's probably the second glow up, because now she went from just another character that's like Mikoto, but maybe somewhat weaker stats, to now she is her own character. She has dance cancel moves on block and whiff. That is a big game changer in a game like this, in my opinion. I mean, cancel options are always good. But there's not many moves that you could jump cancel, back dash, or forward dash cancel when someone on block. Like, you don't really get that option outside of a few niche, like, chain moves. But Maestro can now basically do it when she wants to. So that means she can easily check guard cancel options. She also now gets reward off her overhead. In fact, yeah, there you go. Mikoto actually has Mikoto's not really that good at converting off her overheads. She normally needs to use meter. Maestro, she can convert off her overheads much more better and meterless wise than Mikoto. So Maestro basically is her own character. She got so much significant change, I can't go over all of it. But I'll say this, basically the jump cancel and dash cancel things definitely make Maestro now a character of her own right. Shiro Mikoto, quality of life, almost same thing with Mikoto. Not going to go any further. If anything, we can at least say she now has the best DP out of the characters, I would say, because now her DP is a hard knockdown on hit. So we could probably, if anything, you could say Mikoto is the well-rounded version you want to play. If you want to play an aggressive version, that's probably going to be Maestro, and then the defensive version, that'll probably be Shiro Mikoto, I will say. Because her DP is now better than the others two. She also has more stats than them. She has hard style mechanics such as protection while still having double jump, and she can still convert with counterburst cancel. So yeah, Shiro Mikoto, definitely decent. Remy, pretty much they just made the thing she does better. If anything, they helped the fact that now Air Delusional Wings auto corrects. So she is a character who's going to fight in the air a lot, and as mentioned earlier stream, auto correct is kind of a problem if you don't super jump or double jump. But now her Air Delusional Wing auto corrects, so now she can do a lot more setups, mix-ups, and ambiguous things. So definitely good thing for Remy. I like the changes. Artifactor, basically now her pokes have much more rewards, so I like that. She now has even more defensive options because she already had a shield move that had a lot of clash and did a lot of damage. She had her projectile super, which it didn't have invincibility, but it was also so fast that it was basically hard to even punish her unless you had something that was long invincible yourself and whatnot. And even then, her super also was good at destroying other projectiles. And then she also has a counter super, and then she also has a meterless DP that's strike throw. So she had a lot of great defensive options. Now they also made her ES dash move invincible. So if you want a character who has all defensive options, Artifactor, hands down. The only thing that she had defensively also, which wasn't great initially, was her counter supers. It was way too expensive since, it takes level 2 meter. She usually got more mileage out of just using her level 1s. And even then, when she even landed properly, because a counter hit, even when she lands it properly, the rewards were, what, 2, 3k? So sometime 2.9k to 3.2k, which actually, some of her bread and butters can do that almost on her own if she dumps 1 meter. So it's like, was it really worth using? Like, for example, she could use her DP and then her shield super, and that usually breaks 3k, and that's just using 1 bar. But now that her counter super at least all do 5 point, I think at least 4k minimum for most of them, now her Phantom Breaker are much more worthwhile to use, and I'm pretty sure they're probably not the most damaging Phantom Breaker in general and whatnot. So really good on Artifactor. That's why I think she's the third glow up, the popular character who got the third, best of everything. And these are just standardized things, or rather just general things. So yeah, overall, like what they did with the game. Definitely going to be starting playing more Phantom Breaker Omnia more. I do like the changes they're making, because the changes, if anything, make sense to where either they reinforce the character's strength, or if there's some move that that character have, they made it have some form of a purpose and not just being a niche move. I don't want to say there was ever useless moves. In fact, I would say this. I did initially thought Artifactor's dashing move was useless. The ES one, at best, I thought was good just for getting a knockdown, because it does cause hard knockdown. But now that's its ability, I'm like, okay, I'm now willing to use this move a lot more just to counter poke some people and whatnot. So yeah, I like the changes they're making, because it makes sense. I was really wondering, what can they do to make Maestro be like a unique character, and they did. So overall, yeah, I first wasn't looking forward to Spicy Edition, because I thought it was just going to be adding that new voice line, which I didn't care for. But if some people liked it, that's great. I'm glad they got something that they like. But the changes, oh yeah, I am really enjoying this. So thank you, Rocket Panda Games. Thank you, Phantom Breaker Omnia devs. I am looking forward to playing more Phantom Breaker.